How do you find the right coach?
That's a really good question. I think I'm going to give bad advice on this because I was really lucky. I just met a guy and it's like, I'll hire you. And I worked with that person for 13 years, never questioned it. I was done. So people are going to meet charlatans. So let me tell you what to avoid first before we figure out what to do. The people who overpromise what they can do, the people who talk about themselves so much and don't have receipts and rely a lot on social proof, you have to be a little careful of. They know that a trigger for us is if I take pictures with famous people, if I have fancy cars, live in a nice house, and seem to be dating the right kinds of people, they use that in lieu of real work, real experience. And then they pull you into a web and you are complicit in the lie. Seth Godin writes about this. All marketers are liars and we're complicit in the lie. We want to believe that. What's more interesting is if you meet somebody who's really grounded, who drives like a Honda Civic or something, who isn't flashy about anything, but is deep in what they have to say and have lived a life. I'd be a little bit nervous about getting life advice from 30-year-olds. They haven't lived enough of it to know what to look out for. Not to say there aren't some really wise 30-year-olds out there, but most of them are charlatans. They took an online course, they talk the talk, they've never walked the walk. And one way you can tell is if somebody got rich teaching people how to get rich versus doing the thing that they're trying to teach you, that's usually a warning sign. That's a red flag, if you will. So let's put all that aside now. Now let's say you find somebody, and you don't need to find the best, most qualified, most experienced person in the world. First of all, you probably can't afford them. You might not be a good fit for them. I think what you need to do is say, do I trust this person? And you have a pretty good instinct. We call it our gut. If your gut says this is a pretty good person, they seem to be credible. What I want you to do is just to do what they instruct you to do to the best of your ability, the way you were instructed. That's been my life hack, right? I'll give you an example. I hired a personal trainer virtually for the first time in my life. I've exercised before and I continue to exercise. And then the personal trainer says, eat this, lift those weights, don't eat that, log it this way, and take these photos. And then my wife's like, do you need to eat that? Why don't you substitute it with this? Do you need to work that hard? You need to take it easy on yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. This person doesn't know enough about you. I'm like, babe, I paid this person. I made the commitment. I'm doing it exactly as the person prescribes. Otherwise, I will not know if he is a good coach for me or not. I must do it exactly. And of course, I consume it. I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. So she's the type who starts to edit the advice almost immediately because her logical mind says, I can't do these things. These things don't work. She has a lot of suspicion. So my thing is, if you don't trust the person, don't hire him as a coach. Give it a certain time. Say, I'm going to work with you for 60 days with the expectation that X, Y, and Z is going to happen. At the end of 60 days, there's no more obligation for you to continue. If you love the work, if you love the way you feel and the way you're being treated, then keep going. Otherwise, cut your losses and move on.
Got it.
But trust the person. Otherwise, there's no point.
I love that. So this will be the last one. You had there was a $312,000 bit of coaching advice that saved your life. What was it?
Oh, okay. You just looked at a YouTube thumbnail, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I worked with my business coach for 13 years, and I paid him, I think,
This is
$2,000 to
the aggregate.
$3,000 a month. So it's the aggregate of what I paid.
Yeah.
I've learned invaluable things from my business coach.